I want to first give you a little bit of introduction to SalesNexus. Our mission as a company is to help you grow your business. We believe that when your business grows, the world is a better place. In other words, when your business grows, you're adding value to the lives of your customers, of course, and their families, but also your employees and their families. And all of those people go out into the world and impact their communities. And so truly, we believe that growing your business is key to making the world a better place. So that's what we're all about, and that's why we've invited you to this webinar today, and we're very excited that you're here. So let's get into it. What we want to address today is how you can achieve a more efficient, more predictable, more manageable growth for your company through the use of CRM and marketing automation. To kind of make the point, how many of you have ever looked out at your sales floor or into one of your salespeople's offices and seen this and wondered, I wonder what they're doing today. I wonder what's going on. I wonder if they're on track for their goals. Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. How can you have visibility into that regardless of whether your team's in the office, out of the office, all over the country, whatever. We're going to talk about how you can obtain producer accountability. How are producers doing in terms of hitting their quota? Are they hitting their prospecting goals? You know, are they filling the top of the funnel with new opportunities? Are they making follow-ups to leads that came in last month, existing clients that are up for renewal, and those kind of things? That seems like simple, basic sales management, blocking and tackling, but I bet that a lot of you have found some frustration there, and those of you who haven't probably haven't tried yet. The sad fact of the matter is that salespeople, producers, are great at selling. And what that means is they can tell you what's going on in a story and make you believe that everything's going to be wonderful this month, this quarter, this year, right? But we all know that it doesn't always turn out that way. And the difference is measuring what's really taking place, what matters in your business, and managing through those measurements. And that's what we're going to talk about today. There's also client nurturing. In other words, making sure we're on top of renewals, but also upselling and cross-selling. If you have multiple lines in your business, then making sure that you're not just closing one deal and then waiting a year to call them again for the renewal, but we're going back to them and letting them know about those other lines and increasing revenue per customer. And then information integration, putting everything in one place so that your team's spending less time jumping from one system to another, trying to find information, or sending emails around amongst your staff, trying to get a good picture of what's going on with a client, and allowing you to uncover opportunities and take action faster. Now, before we go any further, I want to ask you guys a few questions. So I have a little poll that's going to pop up on your screen, just so I can get a feel for who you are, so we can make sure that we really focus on the things that's relevant to you. So let's see. Okay, so you should see a question, what's your role? So go ahead and answer that question, and once you have, we'll move on to the next one, and I'll just kind of share the results with you as we go here. Okay, so it looks like almost everybody has responded, and most of you are executive management, and an equal number are producers, so that's great. That's I think you're going to like what you see today. Another question. How big is your team? How big is the team of producers in particular that you're managing? Okay, so about 80% of you have voted, and it looks like we have some real small teams, some medium-sized teams, and maybe a smaller handful of larger teams with over 11 to 25. So small and medium, so that's great. Let's see, let me close that one. And now, are you using a CRM and marketing automation system now? Okay. Great. So it looks like a lot of you are not using either currently. And maybe a few are using just marketing automation, but not a CRM. So that's good. I think you're going to like what you see here. Overall, it seems like you guys are in the right place, and that's important. What we've prepared for today, I think, is going to be on target for you. Let me close that, and we'll keep on moving here in the presentation. Now, when the presentation's over and you leave the GoToWebinar, it's going to ask you to take a little survey that'll help us gauge, did we actually address some of these issues for you? So I'd really appreciate it if you guys would take time to fill that out. It's just 2 or 3 questions, so it won't take you long. But that way we'll know and can use that information to get better in the future. Obviously, we want for you to leave here knowing something valuable that you didn't know before you got here. So here's the thing. Whoops, sorry, my mouse jumped on me. Your producers are spending a good third of their time prospecting. And they spend the other third of their time relationship building, working with clients they already have a relationship with, existing clients, repeat clients, etc. And then the other third of their time is divided up amongst sort of administrative stuff, customer service, helping clients with issues that might come up with their policy or whatever, and just being a liaison for the rest of your team. And we all know what happens with prospecting, right? Obviously, it's the top of the funnel. It's where all your future business will come from. And so if we can stay focused on it, that's great. But most salespeople in all walks of life, not just in the insurance business, struggle to do that. You tend to have a cyclical process where you might do a lot of prospecting for a few weeks or months because maybe you don't have a lot going on right now. You're not closing a lot. And then all of a sudden your pipeline gets full, and then you got a lot to close. And you get busy with that, and you stop the prospecting, or at least slack off on it. And next thing you know, there's not much in your pipeline, and all you've got to do is prospect. And so it goes back and forth. What we want to do is create a way for you to know when that's happening. See it happen on a producer by producer basis at a company level, and manage it. Make sure that producers stay focused on filling the funnel. And we're also going to show you some ways to automate that as well. Now, one of the key ingredients to understanding how to, to understand how the pipeline gets full and how to manage people through your pipeline is to think about not your sales process so much as the customer's buying process. And in the insurance business, as most of you know, I'm sure, a lot of the products that we sell are not obvious to the customer, right? Depending upon the type of customers you sell to, you may have coverages and riders and things like that that they would have never thought of. But the more you get to know their business, the more you get to know them personally, you're able to identify opportunities or risks that they may not have been aware of, or they may know about the risk. They just may not know that there was a way to protect against it. So that buyer becomes aware of a problem, and then they don't just pick up the phone and call their insurance agent and go, hey, I got a problem, I need a policy. That's not the way it works. Think about it from your own perspective. When somebody's told you about, a health risk, or a new alarm system for your home, or anything that you might buy personally, typically what happens is once you become aware of the opportunity or the challenge or the risk or whatever, you go into a sort of education phase where you're, especially today with the internet, you're going to try to educate yourself. In many ways, the buyer is going to attempt to avoid talking to a salesperson, your producer, until the last possible moment. So they're going to do research online, do some Google searches. They may actually fill out some forms on various people's websites and get some reports and data. And eventually they're going to get to that engagement phase, and that's when they get engaged with you, with your producer. That means they reach out to you and they say, hey, I'd like to know more about this. And they may reach out to multiple providers, of course, your competitors as well as yourself. Now, in an outbound world, what most producers don't realize is that the buyer's still going through the same process. It's just that you're stimulating the movement through the process. In other words, I'm sitting there happily at my desk, doing my job, running my business, and your producer walks in my office and introduces himself and tells me that I might have a risk that I could better manage. Well, that producer needs to understand that as soon as he leaves the office, he may have really gotten my attention, but I'm not going to jump to the engagement phase. I don't want to have a meeting yet. I'm going to do my own education first. And we need to create a process that recognizes that and manages it so that we can maintain the management of the customer through the funnel rather than leaving that up to our competitors. So this is just a little more on that education phase, right? I'm going to research, first consider things and internalize the risks, and are these real, and how would they possibly affect me personally? And then I'm going to research solutions, and then I'm going to start talking to your team. So what we want to do is we want to create a way to have the right message in the right place at the right time. I don't need to send you emails that tell you about how you're going to save a certain amount on your policy if you're at the education phase. That's just going to turn you off. You don't need to be sold right now. You need to be educated. So we can create systems that will recognize where different customers are in that cycle and put the right message in their hands at the right time. So this is a more elaborate version of how this might work. Here you see the buying process at the top, and as the customer's moving through that process, we can have different messages, different sort of what people would call content marketing pieces. Now don't let that phrase scare you. I'm not talking about calling up a marketing firm and spending $20,000 on all sorts of design and writing and stuff like that. This can be very simple. In fact, a lot of the lines that you carry probably provide this kind of content for you. Could just be a blog article. We'll talk about that more as we get into this. But what happens is when the customer indicates they've just become aware of a problem, you send them something that helps them confirm, do they have that problem or not? Then as they indicate that, then we start sending them case studies. Here's how somebody like you solved this problem, right? And so on through the process. You can send this email yourself to someone who's not aware that they even have a risk. You know, are you at risk for whatever? If so, you might want to read this blog article. And if they then read that article, all right, great. Now we're going to send them our case studies. So that's how you turn a list of prospects into people that are now moving through your funnel. But what really changes things is if your producers can be tied into this process. So what they learn about customers in their conversations with them over the phone, in meetings, whatever, that can drive which pieces are being sent to the customer, number one, but also when the customer interacts with those pieces, those emails that they're getting, goes and reads your blog article or whatever, they're alerted and they can call them up. And so if you look at one of my case studies, I can call you up immediately and say, hey, Kevin, I noticed you just took a look at that case study on XYZ Corp. What did you think about that? Right? I know exactly what you just looked at, and I want to talk to you about it. But if you just looked at the vendor comparison, that means you're at a different stage, and I want to have a different conversation with you. You know, hey, David, I noticed you just were taking a look at that comparison of the different life insurance providers. What did you think of that? Are you getting close to making a decision? Are you ready to make changes to your life insurance, right? More closing questions. So as a salesperson, as a producer, I know what to talk about with you because of how you're interacting with the content that I'm sending you. So what we're going to do is we're going to optimize producer time spent with qualified leads, because they're not making a bunch of cold calls now. They're making calls to people that are already interacting with the content you're sending them, thereby raising their hand and basically saying, I'm aware of this problem. I'm trying to solve this problem. You should call me, right? These are sort of pre-qualified leads. So your producers are spending time with much higher quality leads. We're going to maximize the ROI on your marketing spending. Whatever you're doing to market your business now, radio ads, direct mail, online ads, whatever else, we're going to help you get more out of it. Because as you all know, what happens is leads come in, producers get after them, and they do what they can do with them. They close some, and most they don't, right? And the ones that they don't close get forgotten about, right? So just a simple campaign to stay in front of those leads that go cold can be worth thousands easily. And we're going to increase revenue per customer by helping your team cross-sell and upsell. Just like we've talked about nurturing somebody through their initial buying process, it's the same thing with upselling and cross-selling. Hey, you just signed up for my commercial line. Were you aware that we also offer benefits? If you'd like to take a look at our comparison of our benefit lines versus some of the most popular, click here to read this article or download this report or whatever. If that customer clicks that alerts your salesperson to give them a call and say, hey, thanks very much for your business on the commercial side, but would you like to talk about benefits, right? So the beauty of this is none of it is expensive to create, doesn't take a lot of time, and it will produce results. You will see an average of $10,000 in commission increases per producer within 6 months if you just do these three things. So how are we going to do that? Well, basically, what SalesNexus is a CRM and marketing automation platform all combined in one. As some of you may know, typically what you have is CRMs that are sort of the platform, and then you subscribe to add-ons to add the capabilities that you need, marketing automation, maybe some, business analytics, reporting. And then ultimately you probably need a consultant to come in and help you set it all up and manage it and everything, because you're in the business of selling insurance, not making CRMs work, right? So what this leads to is a very complex solution. There's a lot of risk of failure, because if any one piece fails, the whole process can be stopped, and it gets costly. So with SalesNexus, we've combined it all into one platform, and we provide the implementation services internally. We don't farm that out to a third-party consultant, which means it's not a profit center for us. It's a means to an end. We know that if we help you get the solution set up the way you work, then you're going to be successful and you'll be a customer a lot longer. And that's the way it works. Our customers stay with us an average of twice as long as most of our competitors. So that's what we're going to look at here. One other quick thing I want to point out, one of the other unique features of SalesNexus is that as a SalesNexus subscriber, you get access to leadferret.com, our partner. They're a data supplier. So if you're selling to, CEOs of companies with $20 to $50 million in your local territory, you can come into LeadFerret and do that search and get that list with their email addresses and load them right into SalesNexus and put them on your lead generating campaigns. You get 500 LeadFerret contacts per user per month at no additional charge. It's part of the subscription. Meaning if you have 5 producers on your team, you're getting 2,500 contacts out of LeadFerret every single month. So you can build up a nice big list pretty quickly. And this is the kind of reporting you're going to get out of SalesNexus. It's not just marketing automation, but it's also real tracking of what's going on in your pipeline. Excuse me. So, by producer, how are they doing in terms of their quarterly goals, annual goals, etc. And also, of course, by line. Same thing here, just more of a graphical representation. I can change by different lines and see how we're doing overall on a quarterly basis or a monthly basis. And then I can drill in and look at specific producers and see how they're doing on a quarterly or monthly basis. Okay, so let me jump into the technology and show you how all this works. So this is our insurance design. This has been pre-designed so that everything you need is there to jump in and start tracking what's going on in your pipeline. So all your producers have to do is put their contacts, the leads they're getting out networking or whatever they're doing, into SalesNexus and categorize them. Obviously, you're asking questions of new leads about, when their current policies come in for renewal and who's their current carrier and things like that. So you just put that information in with these simple little drop downs, and you can customize these and simplify them, make them more focused on the things that or the competitors you're up against commonly, things like that. And so they can point and click and fill these things out, and now you've got your entire universe of potential customers categorized in a way that you can really use. So here's the way that works. I might be talking to, I'll borrow, or let's go here to Larry. So I'm talking to Larry, and he's coming up for renewal here in just a couple of months or a month and a half. So I can say he's a 75% shot, and he's at the information gathering stage, and I'm going to estimate the revenue at $2,000. And so now that's going to go right into my reports like we looked at earlier. And then I move on to the next guy. Of course, I can, put in some notes about the call and the basic stuff like that. Who he told me he's rooting for in the Super Bowl and whatever else. You can see down here, you can manage as many different lines as you want. Commercial and benefits are up here just as examples. If you said, we focus more on commercial and wealth management, then we might move wealth up here and put benefits down here. Now, I get off the phone with Larry, and now I can schedule myself a follow-up. I want to make sure that I call him again a couple Mondays from now. I'll set that for 9 o'clock. I'll have a drop down of the things that I do a lot. This you'll customize yourself. And now that's going to be on my calendar and my task list. It'll sync with your Outlook calendar or Google Calendar. And I won't forget to call Larry again, right? But now also you at a management level have a tracking of all of this. We know that a call was made today and one is scheduled for the 16th. We can see the notes about that. But also, we can make sure that they don't just hear from our salesperson. They also start getting messages from us at a marketing level, right? So here's just a really simple example commercial drip, right? 3 emails, 1 a week. And if I want Larry to get those emails starting tomorrow morning, or I can schedule it for whenever, maybe Monday. I just hit add to campaign, and boom, he's getting those emails. But what's really powerful is that I can do a lookup and find a really specific list. So here's an example. Benefit, based on the benefits renewal date, who has their benefits renewal process happening here over the summer, basically? Well, I want to look that list up because I want to make sure that we reach out to them here this month and get on their list, right? So that pulled up 138 people. And now I want to make sure we call them, but probably also send them some emails. So I can do both of those things. I'm going to go to George's record here, and I can go up here and say add to campaign, and I can pick my benefits drip. And instead of just scheduling it for George, I'm going to click right here, current lookup 138 people. So that's the 138 people that I just looked up, the people with their benefits renewing in the next few months. I hit add to campaign, and boom, they're all getting those emails automatically. I don't have to do anything else. And you notice here, click notification. So if I check that and then hit add to campaign, what that means is that anybody that gets one of those emails and reads it and then clicks to read the white paper or download the report or read our blog or watch the video or whatever, my producer will be alerted when they do so. So we're going to take a list of relatively cold contacts, and we're not going to say to the salesperson, the producer, call all these people. We're going to say, emails are going out, you call the ones who click and look at the marketing content that we're sending them. In other words, you call the ones that are already raising their hand saying they want to learn more about this, right? So what that allows you to do is instead of working with 138, you might work with 10,000. So you're casting a much wider net and focusing your salespeople, your producers, on the most qualified. So let's see here. In addition, you'll customize your own dashboards. So I can see things like how many new accounts are my producers putting into the system. So are they adding new people into the system? I can do really basic stuff like, how many calls are getting logged and things like that. And then, like we looked at before, I can look at those graphs of quota attainment. Now, let's back up a step and talk about how we really get more people into the funnel in the first place. We looked at a minute ago lead ferret. So as a SalesNexus subscriber, you would get the ability to go in and search for the kinds of accounts that you'd like to target, certain industry, certain size in terms of employees, certain regions, counties, zip codes, whatever makes sense for your, in terms of your positioning of your company and your focus. And you pull in that list and put them on a drip campaign. Now, it's difficult for me to show you this with sort of examples. It's better to show you real world stuff. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump into my database here. I need to log back in and show you the way we do it in our business. It would be the same for you. The only difference is we're not selling insurance. So what I'm going to show you is how I can go to a dashboard and see and pull up a list of all the contacts that we've brought over from Lead Ferret in the last little bit, and then take that list and put them on some campaign, and then let my salespeople do their thing with the ones that respond to those emails or click on to read the article or whatever. So again, you're going to go to Lead Ferret and do any kind of search you want. Again, you have a whole lot of flexibility there. And each of your salespeople can go in, each of your producers can go in and do this on their own and follow their own nose. They might have just done a big deal with somebody in a certain industry, and they want to see if there's others like that they could work with. So I can come in here and search by SIC code, to target a certain industry. Or if I'm looking for people that are in downtown Houston within a 50-mile radius of downtown, and I want to make sure they're C-level and let's see, at least 50 employees. I'll do that search, and there's my list, 8,700 people, right? So if I go click at or on any one of these contacts, you'll see what I'm getting. You're getting all their basic address and all that, but you're also getting their title, their phone, and their email address, and their social profiles if they have those. So in this case, I'm getting their LinkedIn profile as well. So I can go in and cherry pick the list and say, okay, I like Robert, and I like Samantha, and I like Brian, and Marilyn, and so on. Or I can just say, you know what, I like them all. I want them all. And I hit transfer selected to SalesNexus. It's going to ask me for my SalesNexus password, and then move them into my SalesNexus database. And then on the other end, I'll come over here to my SalesNexus dashboard, and there's my contacts I've downloaded from Lead Ferret so far this month. It's early in the month, so we don't have a whole bunch of them. But there's that list. And I go up here and say add to campaign, and I have a campaign that's just a series of emails going out once a week, and they're very high-level content. In our case, it's, is your CRM broken? Are you having trouble with your CRM? In your case, it might be, are you covered for this or that? Where each email might focus on a specific risk that you can offer coverage for. But like we looked at earlier, what I can do is have my producer alerted when somebody clicks on those, which is great. If you've never done this kind of thing before, that's probably where you'll start. but I want you to understand where this can lead to. The way we do things is that these emails here are only going to basically take your temperature. If you click on one of those, then our system will automatically put you on a different campaign where you're getting emails more frequently, and they're much more direct, calls to action, like inviting you to a webinar or promoting how we might be able to solve that particular problem. So one campaign leads to a second campaign, which you can do also in SalesNexus. It's really just a function of how many emails can you create. And again, many of you will be able to leverage content that's being provided to you by some of the lines that you represent. Others will want to create it from scratch and really make it unique. Either way, we have a really straightforward process that there's several videos and pre-recorded webinars on our site that will show you a really straightforward way to create these kind of emails. It doesn't have to be done by a marketing expert. And of course, we're happy to help as well. So, point is, you go to Lead Ferret, you put together a huge list, and you start sending out emails, and only the people that raise their hand by clicking on those emails do your producers call. And so now they're being prompted by the system to fill your funnel. It doesn't have to be a discipline anymore. It's just something that happens to them every day, right? So if I go look at Justin on my team, he makes a lot of calls for us, and you can see right here this click notification. So this is his task list. The calls with the line through them are the ones he's already completed today, and these are the ones he's yet to do today. But right here, while he was in the middle of going through all these calls, this click notification just popped up. Somebody just clicked on one of your emails. Now let me go look at that more in depth for you so you can see how much intelligence you're getting about these prospects. Here's one that I just happened to notice earlier today. And just like I described earlier, you can see this guy, he got a ton of emails from us over the last couple of years and didn't do a thing with them. All these one lines, that just means he never opened it or clicked on it. And then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, a couple of weeks ago, he clicked on this one. And that caused him to automatically be put on that second campaign. He opened a couple of those emails, and then ultimately he clicked on this one here just Monday, right? And that put him on Justin's task list to give him a call. And so when Justin calls him, he doesn't say, hey, this is Justin with SalesNexus. We provide blah, 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 blah. He says, hey, John, I noticed that you were taking a look at that video on leaving leads on the table, right? It tells me right here what the guy was looking at it. And it tells me exactly what link he clicked on. So I know exactly what to talk about with him. So in your world, this will be, hey, it won't be, hey, this is Craig with ABC Insurance. We provide commercial lines and life insurance and wealth management. It will be, hey, John, this is Craig. I noticed you were taking a look at our article about fleet management and the risks associated with fleet management. Do you guys have a big fleet? So I'm getting right into what matters to that guy, right? So it just changes everything. It's a much warmer call right from the get-go. So that's where a lot of the power of this comes from. We're doing this to generate new leads, but we're also doing it to cross-sell to your existing customers, right? Everybody that's on your commercial line starts getting emails about benefits. Everybody on your benefits line starts getting emails about commercial. And you know who's interested and who's not, and you can call the ones that are. Let's see. One other thing I want to be sure and show you is how the solution just gives you sort of blocking and tackling kind of intelligence that can really change the game. So Jeremy here is a customer of ours, and you can see, I have a whole history of all the interactions we've had with him going way back, notes about meetings that we had with him or calls, all of those emails and whether he opened them or clicked them. But you're also seeing a different kind of email here. These are just regular emails that were exchanged with Jeremy, not through templates in our system, but just through Outlook, Our system's automatically going to capture all of those and attach them to the customer's record so that you have access to that in the future. And that can be extremely powerful. You might send a quote to someone today, and then 6 months from now, they call back and they're ready to go, but the producer that wrote them that quote isn't even around anymore, right? Well, with SalesNexus, you'll be able to go back and find that and see the quote that was attached to the email that he sent him. I'll just pull one of these up as an example. So you see it's opening that email up for me in Outlook as if I still had it in my inbox or my sent folder, and if there was an attachment, that would be right there for me to open up. This is actually a great example. I didn't think about this until just now, but what this is Justin was reaching out to this client to ask for a referral. And so you can use SalesNexus the same way to reach out to your clients and ask for referrals through an automated email or just a reminder to the producer to reach out to them. And you can track that. You'll be able to set goals for your producers and say, we want you reaching out to 5, 10, 15 customers a week to ask for a referral, and you'll know who's doing it and who's not. Okay, so I want to leave time for your questions. Again, just to remind you, if you have questions, they're in the GoToWebinar control panel that came up when you logged on. You'll see where it says questions, and you can just hit the little plus sign there and expand that section, and it'll give you a little place to type in questions, and I'll try to respond to those as they come in. Okay, yeah, here's a good one. Yeah, just a reminder. So as a part of your SalesNexus subscription is access to Lead Ferret, and you get 500 Lead Ferret contacts per user per month at no additional charge. It's part of the SalesNexus subscription. So just to be sure that's clear, if you've got, let's say you got 10 producers, then you're going to get 5,000 new contacts added to your list that you select with their email addresses every month. So within 6 months, you've got a 30,000 contact list to email. And actually, here's another question about email response rates. Emailing is a different animal in that you have to be aware of different things. But in the end, if you've done any direct mail, it's the same in terms of what your expectations should be. You're going to see typically a 1 to 2% click rate. Your performance may vary. It's going to depend a lot on who you're emailing and what's in the email. And but that's average, which means if you've got a pretty big list of several thousand, then you can send out an email and expect to see some results, right? But if you have a very small list, 500, 1,000, and you're only going to see 5 or 10 responses or clicks to those emails. So it's not going to be a real game changer until you start to build up a pretty big list. Let's see. There's a question here about the pricing. So we have some different subscription levels. In fact, let me just go ahead and pull that up here so you guys can see that. One of the things that's most different about SalesNexus is that we're going to help you set it all up initially. So you can see here we have our do-it-yourself level, which is just that. You get the system and you make the changes to it and configure it. You create your own emails, create your own dashboards and things like that. Now, for those of you who are in the insurance business, we've got this pre-built insurance database, so there's really minimal field creation and dashboards and stuff like that that you have to do anyway. But you can do that yourself, make the changes that you need. And then we have our done for you and ultimate. So ultimate's where we're going to do everything for you. We're going to take the insurance design that we have, and then we're going to consult with you to understand exactly how you differentiate yourself in your market and what your selling process is. And we're going to make changes to the database itself to match your processes and what you really want to know about your customers and create dashboards for you. And we're going to write the emails and create the campaigns for you based on your needs and what's unique about you. So it's really a turnkey service where we're going to set it all up for you. And then in both the done for you and the ultimate at the end, we'll provide a dedicated training session for your team only. So they're really learning how to do their job in this new tool, not just learning how to press the buttons in some software. Difference between ultimate and done for you is that the creating of the email campaigns, writing and designing the emails is not included in the done for you. One thing I also didn't touch on earlier is our API. So you can integrate our solution with your back-end systems, you know, your accounting system, the systems that you're using to manage policies. Our system can talk to those systems. Our API is very robust. We've done this with many different systems. And the API, access to the API is included in both the done for you and the ultimate levels. Let's see. A few questions here. Let me just kind of scan through those. Yeah, okay, great question. What support's included? So as you see, actually, all of these include premium support, and that's a big difference between us and most of our competitors. Most CRM providers have an included support level, and then they have a premium support level that you have to pay extra for. So with SalesNexus, everybody gets premium support. In other words, where standard support for most of our competitors means typically a 48 business hour response time. So in other words, it's Friday and you're trying to get ready for the Monday morning sales meeting and you need some help and you ask for it, but you don't even hear back from them until Tuesday. So that doesn't really help. With SalesNexus, everybody gets same-day response. You can chat with us in your database. There's a Help Me Now link, and that'll start a chat with our team, and they'll literally start answering your questions in seconds. And you can email us and call us, and you get same-day response. So there's no question about it. Nobody offers the same kind of support that SalesNexus does. And I think the big difference there is that we're more than just a technology provider. Our goal is really to help you grow your business. And so we're just a lot more aggressive about making sure you get the answers you need to get where you're going and get back to work. Yeah, okay, here's another question. Yes, you can import your own lists. If you have acquired lists from somewhere else, or you go to trade shows, or you're part of a trade association or whatever, and you've got an Excel file with lists of customers or potential customers, you can load that right in to SalesNexus yourself at any time. We'll help you do it in the beginning, but then as you get going, you can do it as often as you need. There's no limit on the number of contacts you can load or anything like that. Okay, well, if there's no other questions, thank you all for taking time to join us today. And please, when you leave the meeting, if you will, take a couple of seconds to fill out our survey. And as you can expect, we'll be reaching out to you and checking in with you to see if you have any other questions or if there's any way that we can help you grow your business. Again, thanks for your time, and I hope you all have a great afternoon. Thank you.